I woke up one morning and my husband Barry and I, we've been married for it'll be 25 years this year. And that means I get something silver, doesn't it? Oh, I need to start thinking about it. But he said to me, God woke me up in the middle of the night and told me that we should get the website Praying Women. And I was like, oh, okay. So we kind of looked to see if that was available, and it was. But it was a little bit of money. We had to pay for it. So I said, let's really pray and ask God, because I don't want to put something, invest in something that's maybe not right. So we both prayed about it and had this huge, internal witness from the Spirit. No, you have to do this. So we got the website, and then it was kind of like, okay, Lord, now what? Nothing. So maybe about 4 months after that, I got an invitation from a friend of mine. Her name is Diane Strack. And she said, I've been invited to bring 20 evangelical female leaders for a meeting at the White House. Are you available? And I said, honestly, I don't really know. I said, let me check my schedule and I'll get back to you. Well, by the time she got back to me, she said, actually, it's all changed. I can only bring 4, but I really feel as if you're meant to be one of the 4. So I asked the Lord, is this something that you want me to do? And I felt, yes. So we decided that because I didn't know the other women, that we would meet for brunch before we went over for this other meeting. And so when I went in, they were all already there and they were all talking and, they seemed to be concerned about something or confused about something. So I sat down and introduced myself and I said, so what were you guys talking about? And they said, well, God has really laid something on our hearts. We feel like we're supposed to be part of a new women's prayer movement. And we've been trying to get the website Praying Women, but somebody's already got it. And I was like, me? And I told them how God had woken my husband up and put that on our hearts several months before that. And I went on and went to the meeting and it was fine. But the whole reason I was there was to meet these 4 women. Because God started something just in that little nucleus of women who didn't know each other, but loved Jesus and longed for revival in this nation. So now, it's now 20 of us. And in fact, I want to give you a heads up. I kind of saved the date, if you will. If you would go ahead and write in pencil in your calendar, no, do it in pen, do it in faith. February the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, 2020, we're going to have the first event for this women's prayer movement. The kind of hashtag is She Loves Out Loud. We just feel like there's so much anger in our nation. And so often when women's voices are heard, their voices are being raised in anger and dividing. And that is a tool of Satan. One of his greatest tools is division. So what our prayer is that by January of next year, we would have 1 million women committed to pray. And then the day after Valentine's Day, which seems the perfect day to talk about the love of God for our nation, that we will have probably 10 events on the same night across America, simulcast into hundreds of churches. I believe that's what God wants us to do. I mean, if every woman and man, but if every one of us began to take God seriously and began to really rise up in prayer, can you imagine what would happen in our nation? When I read Ephesians 6, where Paul talks about putting on the full armor of God, and do you remember what it says at the beginning of that passage? We do not fight against flesh and blood. It's about the spiritual forces behind that. It's very easy to watch the news or to go on Facebook and hear what people are saying and for our anger to be against the people. But the enemy is what's behind those people. We have an enemy who is alive, who is active. And one of the things he wants believers to do is to stop praying and stop reading their Bibles.